Hi, friends, and welcome to the Women in Web3 interview series. I'm your host, Alex, and I'm the community manager for CharmVerse. CharmVerse is a Web3 operations platform handling docs, tasks, bounties, and proposals. It is a place for team contributors to coordinate day-to-day work, sign in with crypto wallets, and unlock workspaces with NFTs and tokens. It brings together onboarding, bounty management, proposals, project trackers, and data repositories all in one place. CharmVerse is the sponsor of our Women in Web3 series, and the point of this series is to feature and promote badass women that are making waves in Web3. That being said, we're talking with Maddy Bergen, co-founder and CEO of Angel Alliance. We'll be discussing the mission of Angel Alliance and the importance of empowering women in Web3. Maddy is a two-time founder and with a background in VC. So Maddy, are you with us?
I am. I'm very
Hi.
excited to be here. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time to join us.
I am very excited for this conversation.
Oh, me too. Me too. It was very nice to meet you, though briefly at NFT NYC. So glad to be, back in contact. How's your summer going so far?
Well, about 2 days ago, it was 40 degrees in the UK, and now we're back to rain. So I think that summarizes the summer here.
Well, it was brutally hot though, right?
Yeah, it was. It was very, very warm. But I always say I can't complain about the heat because I complain about the cold. So I think you get like it's not an either or.
It's true. It's true. I live in New England in the US, so we always complain about the weather.
I think it might be a thing with England's.
All right. So to dive right in, you've been an entrepreneur since you were 18 when you started a fitness business, which you scaled from 0 to 50 clients in your first year of operations. Had you always wanted to be an entrepreneur?
I actually kind of accidentally fell into it in a way. Because I took a gap year between finishing its college in the UK and university. And essentially I was just thinking, what can I do? What am I passionate about in this 1 year? And I've always really, really loved working out. So I thought, why not just qualify as a personal trainer? And I don't think I necessarily directly realized that I was becoming more of a founder. But essentially, I became really inspired in terms of building an online business, and I was traveling for most of the time. I was working with clients, so it was almost an accidental founder opportunity in a very good way because it made me realize how much I enjoy working for myself. And I think once you become a founder once or twice, even though it's probably the most stressful thing that you can do, you can't go back to like just a normal regular job because I just think that it's so exciting. And I am very, very grateful that I have the opportunity to be a founder now as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love it. So you then worked in fintech for a while, right?
Yes, it was a fintech edtech startup.
And then transitioned into VC.
Yeah.
And now you're the co-founder and CEO of Angel Alliance. So why don't you tell us a bit about the mission of Angel Alliance?
hmm Yeah, so Angel Alliance has been on a bit of a journey in the last few months, a very, very exciting journey that is. So, Angel Alliance, we initially started with the mission of funding female founders in Web3. And even now, the more that I dive into this space and the more technical I get into this space, the more I realize we need more women here. So, I'm very happy that you're doing this space. But yeah, so essentially we started with the mission of empowering female founders in the Web3 ecosystem, which is still a mission that's very, very close to my heart. But I think since that, its current inception, we've gone through a lot of different changes and a lot of different pivots, just based on the fact, in terms of we always set out for Angel Alliance to become a business and a fully functioning business and to actually have an impact on a large scale. And I think that's really what we've gone and done in the last few months. So our current focus is on training Web3 VC analysts and providing people with the opportunities to either get into VC or to get into more the Web3 side of things. So we're becoming more educational, and then we're looking to essentially create an analyst ecosystem where we can train talent and also recruit talent to make sure that we provide those opportunities as well.
Awesome. So the analyst ecosystem, what does that look like?
Yeah, so our model is essentially that we will be training talent. So we'll have courses that run. So we'll do online courses and also cohorts that will train individuals up in Web3 VC. And then people that perform the best or essentially that just show the most interest in what we're doing, we'll be building an analyst DAO, and they will be funneled into this analyst DAO, which will then support like an investment group, so like an angel syndicate group, essentially, with investment opportunities. So that will be research and also sourcing. And then these investors also get personalized analysts to support them. If they're looking for an investment in DeFi, then they can kind of support that process. But yeah, a big part of the way that we're doing is having the focus on education and making sure that we are training up the best talent to be able to then provide the best deals and startups to our investors.
Oh, cool. Yeah, education right now is, I mean, Web3 is so new that I think any educational platform, the more the better, really. It's an analyst DAO that you're building. Will you just explain what that is in case any of our listeners are not familiar?
Of course. So a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. And I have reservations in calling things a DAO in terms of I don't think like most DAOs aren't fully decentralized yet. And the whole goal of a DAO is to decentralize the way an organization works. And what that means is you kind of remove the hierarchical structure that exists in traditional companies. So you'll normally have a CEO at the top and then the employees kind of at the bottom. Oh.
I hear you.
Perfect. Okay. And what a DAO is doing is it's essentially trying to flatten that hierarchy and make the whole system more fluid in a sense and run more with more on-chain activities. So kind of like what you guys are doing at CharmVerse is very, very closely linked to this, and you're trying to facilitate this happening, and it definitely needs to happen more because I think DAOs at the moment, they're very inefficient. It's like they're very, very slow, inefficient, and I think there's a lot that has to be figured out before a DAO can actually become a DAO. So our analyst DAO, initially, it will be more centralized because I think when people try and decentralize too quickly, the whole ecosystem doesn't work out. So we're looking to start off with more of a centralized DAO and then decentralize it over time, and just try and make it, I guess, provide opportunities to people based off of their track record within that ecosystem. So rather than including loads of biases.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that reputation and integrity are kind of everything in Web3 from what I'm seeing. And I like how you're talking about DAOs because, like you said, you know, there's still a lot to learn. They're still kind of ironing out the kinks and trying to have this ideal situation that a DAO should be. But as DAOs become more prevalent and more efficient, do you think they will open up more workforce opportunities in general, but also for women specifically?
I hope so. I think so. Yes, they will. I think they will. And I think like something that I'm particularly interested in is like service DAOs. So where you as an individual can contribute and provide services and get paid for those services. I I think a lot of DAOs still haven't figured out the how to make money part. And for a business, like you need to make money at some point. So I think there's a lot of DAOs that will have to figure that out before people can fully move into a DAO as a full-time job. But I do think that there are models out there that could work in terms of getting regular pay regular income and actually having your full-time job as a DAO. But I think that there has to be still almost this Web2 lens in a sense of how are you making profit, and how are you going to sustain your growth? Because at the moment, I think a lot of projects have received a lot of funding, but then you also need to have that like revenue coming in. And in terms of women, I really, really hope so. The more that I dive into this space and in more of a technical sense, I feel like in the last few months I've probably learned a lot in a good way, but I barely speak to any women, which is like completely fine, but I just want to see more representation. And I think we also need more women designing DAOs and building DAOs to be able to build that culture and create the culture of making women feel welcome in DAO environments. And I think sometimes at the moment that's still missing because there are just less women in Web3. So I think we need more women involved in the DAO ecosystem to be able to design systems that are like female friendly in a sense. So I hope so. I really do.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I mean, a lot of people are aware, obviously, in traditional system, there's a lack of funding that are deployed to women. And it sounds like are you finding that to be the case in Web3 as well?
Yeah, I think when you combine, I think it's less than 5% of founders in Web3 are, or blockchain founders are females. And then you combine that with a stat of 2.7% of funding goes to women. Yeah, yeah, I don't even want to know the stat of that combined. So I think, but I also think that when women do build startups in Web3, they're often very interesting, like the blockchain related ones. So I think that there's potential, but I think we need to create initiatives around that to, number one, get more women into blockchain, crypto, Web3, and then also get more women into entrepreneurship, which is a whole nother challenge in itself. And it's one that I still want Angel Alliance to have a huge focus on, like the diversity piece in Web3 is in general, because we don't have enough people doing things about it, I feel.
Agreed. Agreed. I mean, I've been fortunate to be able to talk to a lot of women lately about this topic. And it's definitely, I feel like it's just there's motivation out there, definitely, to create spaces for women. And like you said, it's one of kind of your personal missions to help fix this gender gap. Do you think that the anonymity that can be created in Web3 will help narrow that gap?
I I actually, yeah, I think it will, in the sense of women feel like they don't necessarily have to reveal their identity and they could be more open and free in that sense. In terms of it actually helping to close the gap, I've been having a lot of conversations with different investors in terms of whether you would actually invest in an undoxed founder. I always get too confused. And a lot of VCs will struggle to put their money behind an undoxed founder, just because you don't know who they are. It could be a rug pull, and especially if you're dealing with probably millions or hundreds of thousands, you probably want to know who the founders are. So I'm not sure if it will help close the funding gap, but I think it will help women gain confidence to get into circles that maybe they wouldn't normally get into. So I think everyone should have the right to just express themselves.
Absolutely, 100% agree. What was your personal experience as a woman establishing yourself in Web3 and then also in the other industries you've been a part of, fitness, finance? What has been your experience as, a go-getter in these spaces?
I want to say that I've always had a lot of great people around me. Most of the things that I've done have been very male orientated. Even personal training, like when you go into the weight section at the gym, not many women. I then started studying engineering, and then not many women there either. But I also think alongside that, I've had a lot of good people supporting me, and really helping me and lifting me up. And I think you almost get used to being in male dominated situations. With that comes the caveat that I think, like, think especially being a young female founder in a very quick moving industry, sometimes you do encounter challenges with that, but I would say that's like the 1%. 99% of people are very supportive and very open. And what I've actually found is when I speak to Web3 native individuals, you always get more support because I guess it's more Web3 to be younger and to be so passionate. Whereas in the traditional and like Web2 space or TradFi, it's a bit less uncommon. So I actually find that the Web3 community is really, really positive in that sense. And it's really embracing of diversity and going out there and trying new things and experimenting. Whereas sometimes with the traditional system, it can seem probably a bit crazy and like you're in like a little world or whatever. So I guess those are the two experiences that I've been having recently. But overall, I've had very incredible people around me that have been supporting me.
That's great to hear. I'm relatively new to Web3, and I kind of share that everyone I've spoken with and met has been really kind and helpful and trying to just spread the knowledge. And it's refreshing. I didn't really know what to expect initially, but everyone has been great and supportive. So what led you to Web3? What got you excited about Web3?
So I got into Web3 when I started jumping on some more blockchain startup deals at the VC I was working at. And I always say this, initially I was like, I'm not going into blockchain. Blockchain sounds like it's very, very hard and difficult, which it is. I think the more that you get into it, the more questions you have. But I was very hesitant in terms of actually exploring Web3, blockchain, crypto, because it just sounds so intimidating. And I think I almost felt that. And like I've been investing in crypto for a while, but I didn't really understand the technology behind it. And I initially just got into it just through jumping on a few startup deals and actually just like analyzing the potential of it. And I think when it clicks in your head, like the power of decentralization and what that means and the applications that can have, you almost can't turn back in a sense. Like we haven't even explored what that means. And I think that's the exciting part about it because you quite literally, everyone at the moment has an opportunity to innovate in a space that needs a lot of innovation, whether it's through the infrastructure, DeFi, or all these different verticals that are popping up. So I just got really, really fascinated by it and went down a bit of a rabbit hole. And I still haven't come out of that rabbit hole. I'm probably getting more and more into it. But yeah, it's a very, very exciting journey to be on.
It is. And like I said, being relatively new, that rabbit hole, man, it just goes and goes. I mean, you can just go from one term to the next and just keep researching. And I think you also, it's all changing so fast. So if you think you're getting up to date, think again, because there's just always something new coming out. So I want to get back to Angel Alliance. What would you say are your foundational values of the organization?
Yeah, of course. Well, I think a big part of our foundational values is diversity, and just providing opportunities. Just because that, like, no matter what we do, no matter what we build, I think I just think that there aren't enough people doing things, essentially, like what I was saying before. And I think you have to be able to build your brand in a company, to be able to make a difference on a larger scale, which is exactly what we're trying to do at the moment with Angel Alliance. And I think another key part of our values is integrity and just doing the right thing. So when we're designing this ecosystem, we're trying to design it with like having these individuals' interests at heart, and like how will the whole ecosystem interact, how will it all work together and interlink. And like a big part of that is integrity and just making sure that we incentivize the right actions at each stage. Because I think like if you make it all about just earning money and like not having any community driven incentives, it's just going to become like the traditional VC system again, where it's all about competition and not collaboration. So we're just trying to put mechanisms into place to really make that happen. And another huge value for us is education, and just making sure that we are providing education in any way that we can, and making sure it's the right information, because there is a lot of information out there, especially when it comes to Web3 and blockchain. So we're really trying to create a course and a system that provides the right education that isn't rug pulls and like rubbish. So we're just, yeah, trying to, I guess, do the right thing in a lot of different ways, through also building like having a community driven approach and making it more about empowering individuals rather than empowering the companies. And I think that's the transition that we're seeing with Web 2 to Web 3. So just really trying to bring that to light.
Yeah, I like that. Definitely. The collaboration aspect has been a really cool thing to realize about Web3 is just, there's so many ways to collaborate with different people. And in education, like I said, I think you can always just keep learning on any subject, but specifically on something that's so new, and innovating. And when you mentioned diversity, I was at NFT NYC and there was a panel going, and they were just talking about diversity and how important it is to work with or hire people that aren't like you or that don't look like you, because it just opens up different perspectives and cultural backgrounds and just things that if you only hire people that look like ourselves, we're not going to move forward. So I like the diversity aspect as well. Do you want to share some recent happenings at Angel Alliance that you're most excited about?
Sure. God, what hasn't been happening? Yeah, so we're looking to start raising a pre-seed equity round, for the full idea that we're building now. So a lot of my time is going into preparing the documentation around it, and also networking, because honestly, I think raising funds is more around who you know. So that is like one of the key focuses. Second key focus is we're doing a Web3 VC analyst pilot at the moment. So we have 12 VCs and 8 interns going through a 2-month program. So essentially, my co founder and I's role is to make sure that we're building the best program and that we're learning the most from these individuals. And it's been honestly so inspiring to see how much they've changed even in the last month in terms of their knowledge, and their confidence. So far so good. We're learning a lot from the curriculum and how we're going to design the best curriculum moving forward. So a lot of our time is spent on that, and we've essentially split the cohort into two. So because we have individuals that understand VC really well but don't understand Web3, so we've been designing workshops more around like Web3 101, and then we've also designed workshops around venture capital 101 essentially, as well as having workshop hosts. So we've had people like Ethereum Foundation, Solana Labs, Nexo, and like a few other people come in and host workshops for the cohort. And then alongside having weekly tasks and weekly meetings and quizzes and everything like that. So I would say most of my time is spent on the cohort and now looking to raise funds moving forward.
That's a lot. That's a lot to be working on. As far as that pilot program, for anyone listening that would want to get into that program, how would they go about that?
Of course. So the pilot one has just been in London, but moving forward, we want to do it on a global scale. And essentially, we have a wait list. I believe it's on our website. So if you just go to angelalliance.co, there should be a sign up at the top where you can join the wait list. But that's the best way for the moment, because this cohort will finish in August, around August time. And then we want to design a better curriculum and start the next cohort.
Okay. And for Angel Alliance, who is your target audience, would you say? I know you said a lot of the people coming up in Web3 are younger. I mean, who are you looking to kind of bring in?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I feel like one of my not pain points, but a group that I feel particularly passionate about helping is young people. But we have two target personas essentially. So there's going to be a B2B side, which is to VCs directly and investors directly. And then we're going to have a B2C side, which is the one that I'm probably more excited about, which is like, I guess, individuals either interested in like Web3, learning about Web3 more, or learning about VC more. And I think this is the really interesting part about it, because for those individuals, this could be almost like act as a career change in a way. And like, how can we build out the best program to make sure that individuals are ready either to go full-time Web3 or full-time VC? So that's the biggest thing for us. But at the moment, if I'm going off our current cohort, we have on the intern side, we have people that are Web3 natives but don't necessarily understand VC. So we have people that are full-time crypto traders or Web3 lawyers, or have just been in Web3 for ages. And we've then been teaching them about VC, and then we have the VC side or the B2B side that are the VC investors that we're teaching Web3. So those are our two main target personas.
All right. What do you think makes Angel Alliance stand out from other projects with similar objectives?
I think we're building a unique structure to be able to like build out a whole ecosystem. Like, I haven't really seen anyone doing what we're doing yet. I've seen people do parts of what we're doing, and there are similar projects out there, but I haven't necessarily seen one specifically focused on everything that we're doing. I almost think of it as a bit of a puzzle in terms of you have to fit everything together to make it work. And I haven't really seen anyone doing that yet. So I would probably say that our business model in a sense is probably our unique side.
It's great. Innovation in Web3. So you guys are leading it. What does your team look like? Who are you working with over there?
Of course. So at the moment, it's Bruno and I full time. So Bruno is my co-founder. We've been working on the project together since, I believe it's December, I think. So at the moment, we're the only ones full time on the project. We have some advisors helping us out as well. So we have Arshita, who runs New Founder School, Kat, who essentially, she works quite heavily in the DAO space, and Diana, who's also supporting our fundraise and just supporting us with the business model side of things. And then we also have the cohort kind of indirectly. They have been brilliant with also supporting Angel Alliance and what we're doing and designing the structure. So we've almost had some indirect help from the cohort and the 20 people in that. But at the moment, it's Bruno and I full time, and we're looking to expand the team as soon as we raise some funds as well.
Oh, that's great. How did you connect with Bruno, and what's his background?
Yeah, of course. So, funny story. We actually met at college. So we've known each other for a while, and he's been in crypto trading for God knows how long. He's been in crypto trading for a while, and got really, really into DeFi. And as I started going down my rabbit hole, we reconnected, and I kind of explained to him the idea of what like I wanted to build with Angel Alliance, and then he was really, really supportive, really on board, which is how we kind of made the decision together, and started Angel Alliance. And yeah, 6 months later, we're still here. Very, very different situation to what we thought it would be, but very, very happy that we're still here together full time.
Yeah, strong partnership. That's great. So I always like to ask some of these questions, partially selfishly, but I just think it's important to share some of these things in Web3 so people are kind of up to date on who they should be checking out and what they should be checking out. Who is a woman in Web3 that you look up to most?
It's a good question to ask. So I think someone that inspires me a lot and that I've just become really good friends with is Leah. Leah from Albright. I don't know if you guys have heard of the collection. They're essentially they're a Web2 like female focused business kind of group that have moved into Web3 recently. And Leah's really active in their community and leads a lot of their Web3 stuff. But we essentially throughout the months, I feel like we've grown closer and closer. And I find her really inspiring in terms of her ambitions in the space and how she wants to help women. Like, for example, in New York, she put together this incredible lunch. It was a breakfast to get together some incredible women. So I always find her very inspiring because I know what she wants to achieve in this space and what she wants to do for women in this space. And I think we need more people like her here.
Absolutely. I will definitely have to check her out. Yeah, the networking that I've also found in Web3 from women to women has been amazing. Everyone's just been supportive and happy to collaborate and happy to pass along contact info. And it's just so encouraging, especially when you're moving into a new space that can be intimidated and male dominated. So I will absolutely check her out. How about 3 crypto projects or NFT collections you're keeping an eye on or excited about?
Wow, this is a tougher question. Just trying to think in terms of projects that I've been keeping an eye out. So I've been diving more into, I guess, the technical side of things, and like looking more at Web3 startups, rather than like NFT projects recently. But I think just trying to think. One that I'm very interested in is called. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I was going to say you can also share the technical side if you're watching those projects. I'm happy to hear about those too. All right, Matt, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, absolutely.
Perfect.
All right, glad to have you back.
Yeah, so I guess a few projects that I've been speaking to recently. So there's one cool, I'm actually not going to name them, but essentially it was a GameFi project, and they're very established in the Web2 gaming industry. And they recently launched a game in Web3, and they haven't necessarily had the positive reaction that they were hoping for. And I found it really interesting because I think a lot of people are trying to just apply Web3 to everything and blockchain to everything, but don't necessarily understand why they're doing it. And I think like the more and more I dive into startups that are doing things in the space, the more I realize that, because it's a bit of a buzzword. It's a bit like adding AI and machine learning to your pitch deck. Everyone's trying to have a blockchain angle or trying to add blockchain because they think it's going to get more funding. But yeah, so that was one. I'm not going to name them. Probably don't want to expose them in that way. Another one is there's one called Global Human Identity. It's a very, very early stage one, but it's just looking at how we can solve the identity part of Web3 and like that challenge. And he was looking to design a wallet specifically for, I think it was health records on the blockchain. So using like the blockchain and like non-transferable NFTs potentially to be able to build out a health like your health track record in a sense, because at the moment it's, you know, if I transferred from the UK to Australia, let's say, it would be very difficult for my health records to travel along with me, and it would probably take forever. So what if you could decentralize that process? So those are 2 projects that I've been looking into.
Yeah, that's very cool. That seems to just make sense. How about, as as a powerhouse in Web3 out there, what are 3 mobile apps you're using to stay on top of your game day to day?
It's a very good question. I use, honestly, for my to-do list, I use just my notes section in my phone. I use that. Google Calendar is like my best friend. I don't know what I would do without Google Calendar. And I use Trello a lot as well. I feel like I should add a fourth, which is an
Yeah.
indirect help, but that's actually Spotify, because I don't think I could do all the work that I do without listening to music. So that's like an
Yes.
indirect one.
That I will allow it. I will allow a fourth. What was the third one? Did you say Trello? I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, so Trello is essentially like just like a board where you can like manage your tasks. So at the moment I'm just using it to do like project management stuff with Angel Alliance.
Okay, cool. And that's mobile friendly.
It is.
All right. All right. Awesome. Just a shout out to CharmVerse. We are becoming more mobile friendly day to day. So I don't know if you've checked us out yet. I think I saw you on there one day on Discord.
Yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of CharmVerse. Alex knows this. And
Awesome.
I'm very excited for Angel Alliance to start to integrate CharmVerse.
Oh, we love to hear that. So, what's next for you? I mean, you already have a ton of stuff coming out, but do you have conferences you're attending soon or any other things that we should be keeping an eye out for?
I'm trying to take the approach of the bear market being for building. So I'm trying to limit the number of conferences that I go to, but like I go to a lot of networking events in London. So there's a lot of Web3 events that I'm going to. So if anyone's in London and wants some good suggestions, feel free to message me. And I'm going to Serbia, which is a very random country, to host a workshop there as well, all about Web3. And it's at like an investors conference, so that'll be interesting. But apart from that, my plans are mainly to just build in the bear market, and to spend the time wisely.
Great. What is the best way for us to stay apprised of your journey or become a part of your community?
Yeah, so I would say probably for me, LinkedIn or Twitter are the best, which is very Web2. I know the LinkedIn side, but it's honestly where I just stay the most active, and or try to stay the most active. So yeah, LinkedIn or Twitter, and Angel Alliance also has a Discord, so feel free to jump in there, but also sign up to the waitlist that we have. That's, I guess, because our key focus at the moment is on making sure that this pilot cohort works for the next cohort to also work and to be able to build this into a larger scale. So make sure to sign up to our waitlist as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Everyone go sign up for that wait list if you're interested in joining that program. Um, Maddy, last question. It's a bit of a heavy one. Describe the rest of your life in 5 words.
That is a very heavy question.
Just a light question for Friday evening.
Yeah. Exciting, I think, has to be one of them. I love, I feel like what I've always learned is just follow your passion. And alongside that comes excitement. Ooh, 5 words. Can I say motivated, happy? God, you have really put me on the spot here.
My last guest, I sent the questions and she was like, "How did I miss that one?" It was actually Rachel Sitman
Oh yeah,
Price. Yeah, and she was
Rachel
like,
and I
"Well,"
both missed it. Both missed it.
and I was like, "I'm so sorry. If that were me, I'd be like panicking."
No, I think honestly, like things, just I feel like the key things that I try and stick to is just like follow your passion, and that's always what I've done and what I will continue to do, and trust your gut in a sense. Um, and that is literally what I want to continue doing throughout my whole life. So I don't know if that counts as 5 words.
I'm putting it on there. Exciting, motivated, happy, passion, and gut. I think that all
Good.
sounds good. And you're living it now. So just keep living it. That's great.
Thank
Um,
you.
well, thank you again for joining me. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. I'm really excited about what you're building. And I'm, yeah, excited to just follow along on that journey. So keep crushing it out there in Web3.
And likewise, I am very excited to watch CharmVerse progress. You guys are really building something incredible. And I'm really glad that we got to connect in New York.
Me too, me too. And I hope we'll be able to at some point in the near future. But in the meantime, I'll be, watching stuff on Twitter and doing all that kind of good stuff to see what's going on with you and Angel Alliance. So thanks again. Have a great Friday. And yeah, and I'll be in touch.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Alex. It was lovely
Thanks, Maddy.
speaking to you.
Be
Bye.
well. Listeners, please give Maddy and Angel Alliance a follow on Twitter. From there, you can find their Discord, their LinkedIn, their website, and all that good stuff. And please stop by again next week, Thursday at 2 p.m. We'll be talking to Bridget Hurst, the content marketing manager at Stardust. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend.